Hello and welcome. Honestly, uh, let's answer a quick question right here. Why am I appearing on this channel like this? Well, for one, there's a lot of people in my apartment today, and we're gonna give them a little bit of privacy by hiding behind an avatar. But yeah, as you can hear, background noise everywhere. So, because of that, we're going to be going currently, behind an avatar. But that being said, I really wanted to actually talk about this stuff with you guys today because just how insane E3 has been so far. So, if you are not aware, E3 is currently going on, and it is easily the biggest gaming announcement focused convention all year. Last year, it was pretty much absent due to, COVID-19. And so, because of that, this year they had a lot to really show off and talk about. And so essentially, like, we're going to go ahead, we're going to go game by game what I was like super, super excited for. And yeah, let's kind of just get into that. So, first off, Outer Worlds 2 was announced with easily one of the best trailers I've ever seen for a video game. It was super self-aware. It has revealed that it's in early development and that almost none of the footage that you are seeing will be part of the game. I think they got the narrator for the Stanley Parable in there, and it was yeah, it was just generally pretty fun, pretty good. I did enjoy that one quite a bit. We did see, man, I should have ordered this in least exciting to most exciting. We saw Psychonauts 2, which actually is pretty exciting for fans of that series. Psychonauts being a long dormant series. That being said, the second game is looking pretty good, and we did finally actually get a good look at it. Sea of Thieves got an update, or is getting an update out of nowhere, called Pirates of the Caribbean. Honestly, when I look at Sea of Thieves, I really do think about Pirates of the Caribbean. So, to be completely honest, like, that actually seems like a pretty good match to me. Slime Rancher is also getting a new game, Slime Rancher 2. This one is going to be more adorable. It looks like there's even more crazy and adorable slimes. Personally, I have the first game. I haven't played too much. Apparently, there's a way to play it in VR, and I kind of want to try that, but I haven't been able to get it working. So, yeah. Then we also saw a new game called Redfall, which looks pretty interesting. It actually looks a lot like what I would assume a Left 4 Dead combined with like vampires would be. It looks interesting. We didn't really see too much gameplay. Again, it was all CG trailers, but that was just the Microsoft stuff. So like the Microsoft conference was actually pretty interesting. Final Fantasy Origins, which is a Team Ninja Square Enix collaboration. We saw that, and that looked interesting. The trailer, honestly, like way too many times is chaos dropped in. Obviously, the story revolves around hunting down the origin of chaos, apparently. So, because of that, yeah, they say it a lot in the trailer. It looks interesting. It looks like a hack and slash mixed with Final Fantasy. You've got Team Ninja on it, and you've got Square Enix on it. So, of course, that's how you're going to get that combination. We also saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm kind of excited, tentatively excited for it. We haven't really had too many good Marvel games. Like we had the Spider-Man game from Insomniac that was like really, really good. And then like every other one after that has kind of sucked. Like there's the Avengers VR game that's like eh. Then there was like the Avengers game that came out and everyone was hyped for it, and then they played it for like a week and then never touched it again because it just wasn't that great of an experience. So when it comes down to it, I'm tentatively excited for Guardians of the Galaxy. It looks good. They are not using Chris Pratt's likeness at all for Star-Lord, which is pretty interesting. It's kind of just like generic blonde hero guy. So yeah, definitely an interesting game. I am excited for it, just with high expectations kind of tempered. We did see Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite is still apparently like having some issues getting its grounding, but it is coming. Really cool thing. Halo Infinite will have its multiplayer completely free, which is a good way to get people into it. And the multiplayer aspect of Halo was something that was actually really, really big, especially early on in like the first few games. So it's good to see that we're going to have that pretty much back. And this time it's going to be part of like just a free experience, which will be nice. That being said, we did see a little bit of the actual story. It looks like Master Chief will be looking for Cortana. There are some hints that she might still be around and alive. So that pretty much, I guess, will be the direction that we're going to be going in. That being said, the game does look a little bit better. It looks more like a game that is complete. Like there are some concepts in there where like you can pick up weapons by like throwing a grenade and bouncing it into your direction. That to me is a very good like mechanic essentially for making sure that the gameplay doesn't get really stale. It looks really interesting. Like we saw some things where somebody threw a grenade into gravity blade, or not the gravity blade. I'm mixing up the gravity hammer and the energy blade. The energy blade, and then they grabbed the energy blade and were able to actually use it. That was kind of cool. Like that kind of comboing could definitely make Halo multiplayer super interesting, and it could definitely make the game super interesting. We also saw Starfield for the first time, other than just a logo. Again, it was just a CG trailer, but supposedly it's coming at the end of the year. Some information that wasn't really in the trailer, but you can understand why they're trying to sell Xboxes here. If you do go to the Starfield website, you will see that it's also coming to PC at the exact same time. I'm assuming because this is all included with Xbox Game Pass, you can probably actually play it day one with Game Pass, which is super exciting. So we're getting like Outer Worlds 2 and Starfield in like the same year. So it's going to be really interesting to see the company that kind of parodied Bethesda when they made the Outer Worlds also be up against a space game in the exact same genre by Bethesda. So honestly, I'm super, super, super excited for that. I've been waiting for Starfield to come out because I just a nice new game from Bethesda. Yes. And also it means we'll be closer to the next Elder Scrolls because Starfield had to come out first. So that pretty much wraps up like everything in the Xbox conference. They pretty much only talked about all these things, plus like a couple of more first party titles. There are actually new IPs coming out of Microsoft that are actually super exciting. They did have a kind of like a joke announcement for like the Xbox mini fridge. So yeah. I mean, honestly, like out of the Xbox conference, we pretty much like we really didn't get too much that like really was like that, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that's actually coming. Like we didn't get a Fable or anything, but at the same time, it was good. Like personally, I enjoyed it. I saw a lot of new stuff that I'm excited for. And because it's also pretty much all coming to PC and all coming to Game Pass, like I will have the opportunity to try all of it without having to really resort to buying a million and one games. So that pretty much just wraps up them. Razer, I don't know how Razer did their conference at E3 and instead of Computex, but Razer did do a conference at E3. Their conference had really two big announcements that I really cared about. One of them was the new Razer Raptor 2, a brand new monitor from them. It's 27 inches, 1440p, 165 hertz. The one thing that's fairly interesting about the new Raptor is it's THX certified for color calibration instead of audio, because THX certification for audio has been around, not necessarily for color calibration. That being said, when it comes down to it, the THX certification for Razer is pretty much useless because Razer owns THX. It's like the equivalent of giving yourself a medal for doing something and that's it. Like they can kind of make up the certification so that their monitor will meet it. That being said, and this is kind of like playing devil's advocate here. If they wanted to make it stand for something, having a really good color calibrated monitor would be a really good way to start that. And honestly, like the pricing makes it look like it's supposed to be a pro display. It is around $800. It's like $799, which is a lot for a 1440p 27-inch monitor at 165 hertz. Now, if it's good, like actually really, really good color-wise, then they can justify that price. They're using still the same like CNC bodied construction, which makes it expensive to make. And that essentially, like, when it boils down to it, this new Razer Raptor monitor is probably going to be very good, very professional, but it's just so expensive. Speaking of things though that they will be releasing with CNC bodies and actually is a little bit better in price, they are releasing a new Razer Blade 14. Now the new Razer Blade 14 actually runs AMD. Yeah, they came out on stage, they're like, we are using the most powerful processor we can, and it's by AMD, which is awesome. Like, it really is. So essentially we're getting a Razer Blade with AMD and an RTX 3080. And the whole thing actually comes in at about $1,800, which is about $2,000 less than I would have expected for the new Blade. It is a little pricey for a 14-inch gaming notebook. I would have preferred a bigger size than 14-inch, but honestly, like, as they were going through features, the only thing that I could think of was like, this is like the Razer Blade that Linus would like. And to answer your question, Andrew, yes, I am always experimenting, but this whole character, there's a story behind this that is a video that I'm going to be working on, but like right now my apartment is a little too busy for me to actually effectively live stream and keep like this corner without a bunch of random people possibly being in the background. So I do appreciate it. I do like to experiment with content and technology constantly. So thank you, Andrew, for noticing that. Where was I? Oh yeah, we were talking about the Razer Blade. So the Razer Blade has like Windows Hello, which I know Linus is going to love. Like, every feature that they hit, I swear it was specifically targeted to Linus of Linus Tech Tips. And I honestly, like, I'm excited to like see that review from him, just because he has always been a fan of the Blade. And so seeing it like so targeted towards him, it's going to be interesting. Like, cause they always like to have like, here are the good, here are the bad. And it'd be funny if he ends up in a situation where he really can't make anything bad out of it. So that was pretty much Razer. Oh yeah. And they also, the Razer face mask, those actually did get announced. Not only announced, but they're actually going to be selling them. Honestly, I kind of want one just because of like how absurd it is, but at the same time, like, Razer actually bringing this one to market was one of those things that I thought that just would never happen. They still haven't dropped a price on it. So yeah. And then they also announced like $150 charger. That was kind of like, what? What are you doing, Razer? So like, they had some cool, they had some bad, but overall Razer being at E3 was kind of a nice treat to kind of break up between the Microsoft conference, well, the Microsoft Bethesda conference, this, and then now Nintendo, which like went nuts on us this morning. So I'll save like the two biggest ones that like I'm super excited for, but we essentially got Advance Wars 1 and 2 remastered, which I know a lot of people will be pretty excited for. I remember in my early college days, people still carried around Game Boy Advances with like copies of that game so that they could actually play against each other. I actually saw a link cable in like 2018 on a college campus just so that they could play Advance Wars. So them having it on the Switch will be nice. WarioWare, they're releasing a new WarioWare game. Super zany, super weird. Looks like it's got co-op. It's going to be absolute madness. Mario and Rabbids, they're getting a new game. Again, super zany, super weird. It's honestly a concept that shouldn't work, but like XCOM plus Mario plus Rabbids, yeah, I guess. Rabbid Rosalina kind of stole it for me with like her I don't give a damn about anything attitude. So honestly, like I'm actually kind of excited for that. Unironically, I excited for it. Monster Hunter Stories 2, we got to see more of that. I'm liking what I'm seeing. The original Monster Hunter Stories was actually kind of limited for the 3DS. And now that we got it on Switch, I'm actually like really enjoying it. Um and I can't wait to actually see like what it actually turns out to be like as a console game, because it was kind of like that weird spin-off that happened at the end of the DS era. So I really didn't get to play too much of it. Um we got Mario Party Superstars, which is 5 boards from the Nintendo 64 plus mini games from the Nintendo 64. Um, Kind of funny that they went back to that, especially because like they've been like pretty adamant about like constantly trying to make new stuff out of that series. I am personally a child of the Nintendo 64 generation, so like I will probably enjoy this more than any other Mario Party if I ever pick it up. All right, and that pretty. Oh no, Tony Hawk Pro Skater Switch also got announced. I think this is the first time Tony Hawk Pro Skaters 1, 2, and 3 are going to be on a Nintendo console. I think there was a working version of it on the Nintendo 64. I don't know if it ever got released. I may be lapsing in memory on that one, but yeah, we're getting the Pro Skater games on a Nintendo console. So yeah, kind of fun. But that pretty much is all the small stuff. Let's actually get into the 3 big things, and we'll do them in order. We've got our next Smash Fighter reveal, and it is Kazuya from Tekken. I kind of saw this one coming from a mile away. They had been adding in all of the fighting game protagonists like one by one. So we had Ryu, we had what's his face, Terry. We had Terry, and I was like, all right, they're going to have to add in another fighting game character. What do we have left? We had Dead or Alive and Tekken, and I would be so surprised if we do not see a character from Dead or Alive in Smash at some point. Maybe not like the main cast that everyone knows about. Maybe, I mean, they could kind of like double dip, like if they wanted to do Ninja Gaiden and do Ryu, because he's technically a fighter in Dead or Alive. But essentially, we're slowly getting every fighting game character ever in Smash. So you can have Tekken versus Street Fighter versus Final Fight versus Captain Falcon, because that is Smash now. It is just amazing like how much they've been adding in. So honestly, not really surprised. It didn't really shock me in any way, but I am pleasantly surprised, or not really surprised, but I'm happy for it, because it's not really something that was unexpected, but was definitely something nice to have. Now the announcement that may have almost broke me. Metroid. Now we know Metroid Prime is getting a new game, and they still haven't shown it. Like they still, even now, they still haven't shown it. But we got an announcement for Metroid 5, or as it's officially known, Metroid Dread. And as a longtime Metroid fan, this is amazing. So Metroid Dread takes place after Fusion. It's obvious based off of Samus's armor that it is sometime after Fusion. There are these like things, I think they're called like Emmys, is what they said that their amiibo is called. There are these like Emmy units that are hunting down Samus. They don't look alien in origin. They don't look like they're part of the Chozo, which are the ancient civilization that had disappeared. They don't look like they are related to Mother Brain or any of her stuff, which is really, really weird. We did see a Chozo though in the actual trailer. So I do wonder, like, are we going to be seeing like Samus being hunted by what I'm assuming is going to be the Galactic Federation? Because the Emmy looks like it belongs to the Federation and it doesn't belong to the other factions that we've fought in the past. And that being said, like, if spoiler territory, if you go back to the end of Fusion, it was kind of obvious that they were trying to kill her at the end there. Like they were actually like trying to kill Samus. And so her escaping and surviving might actually indicate that the Federation is trying to get rid of her at this point, which is interesting because that puts her at odds against the entirety of the human race in that series. So I'm actually very, very, very excited for this. It is a 2D platforming Metroid game. It looks like literally they took Fusion and they made the next step. They use, it looks like some of the mechanics from the 3DS game have made their way into this new game, which includes like meleeing, critical dodges, and things of that nature. We saw some new power-ups, including an invisibility one. We saw a power-up that allowed Samus to climb up walls. Overall, like, I'm excited for this because it's Metroid, it's new, and I'm so excited. So I think originally Prime was going to come out before this, and then this was going to follow Prime. But now it looks like this one's done, and Prime will follow that, which could be interesting. Metroid Prime, though, when that game finally comes out, I actually missed something, by the way, on a little bit earlier. I saved it because I did want to talk about it. Monkey Ball. Monkey Ball is back. Like, so if you ever watch the channel, I think it's like Nick Robinson. Let me see. Let me pull him up really quickly here. I know he was watching this tentatively. He did this amazing documentary where he hunted down the voice actor who did the Ready Go in Monkey Ball. And during that, he didn't let it slip that they were working on a new Monkey Ball, but he like talked to the guy, and apparently they hired him. Robinson. Yeah. So it's Nick Robinson here on YouTube. He did this amazing, like super long documentary about it, found the guy, needle in a haystack, because apparently he's uncredited for the actual game. And so we knew that this was coming. We just didn't know when or how it was going to look. So we are actually getting a remaster of the first 3 games. So that's Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball 2, and Super Monkey Ball Adventure, I believe it is. And we're getting this new game. And I'm going to be honest, I'm excited about it. I shouldn't be this excited about it, but I'm pretty excited to see Monkey Ball back. It looks like all the mini games are back. All of the everything that made that is back. And then finally, the final game announcement that we got, and we finally got to see actual gameplay for Breath of the Wild 2. We got Breath of the Wild 2, and we knew it was coming. Like it was obvious because like they brought out Eiji Aonuma. They were like, here's a Nintendo Game & Watch for Legend of Zelda for the anniversary. Here's Skyward Swords for the anniversary. And then they're like, oh, and here's the one that's thing. I'm like, okay, it's got to be Breath of the Wild 2. And so we finally see it, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is going in different directions than I thought it would. So Breath of the Wild 2 will actually have Link take to the skies again. They showed this like absolutely interesting part of the game where Link is like free falling. He looks like he's wearing an outfit we've never seen before. And it's fascinating to see. It looks like Ganon's going to take Hyrule Castle up to the sky. The theory part of my brain is going, okay, so Ganon's just literally like taking the castle where it originally fell from in Skyward Swords. Because I'm pretty sure the castle's probably like exactly on like the sacred grounds or something like that. Like that's how they're going to play it like story-wise. But digressing a little bit, Breath of the Wild 2, we saw Link flying around. We saw some new power-ups. Like I saw like Link using a flamethrower arm. Like what? Like this is becoming one of the most fascinating incarnations of Link I've ever seen. We also saw this like interesting slime power-up where Link can shoot up and then like turn into a slime and then like reform on top of things, or probably even through platforms. That's going to be interesting to see how that's going to work out. We saw tons of new armors. We saw some old armors. We saw the hero's tunic. We also saw an ability where Link can now reverse time. So yeah, that's interesting. And just overall, like just with like, I think it was only like 10-15 seconds, I am re-hyped for this game. I had honestly kind of like, cooled off, but now I'm ready for Breath of the Wild 2. It isn't coming until 2022 though, so we are gonna have to wait for it. But I am definitely excited. I also kind of almost forgot to mention we are getting DLC for the Koei Tecmo Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. That's it. We are getting some DLC. They showed off Link with a new weapon. They showed off the ability to play as a Guardian, which really cool. And then they showed Zelda on the Master Cycle, which I was like, okay, I didn't expect that. I really did not expect Zelda to be riding on Link's Divine Beast, but hey, you know what? It's Koei Tecmo. I mean, we've talked about Dead or Alive earlier. Like, it's Koei Tecmo. They know what they're doing. We'll just leave it at that. All right, but that pretty much is so far every exciting thing that I saw at E3. There was also a Borderlands spin-off that I'm kind of excited for. I don't think we've really seen too much of it. That's Tiny Tina's adventure or something like that. I don't know the exact name, but it's like a fantasy RPG being DM'd by Tiny Tina. So yeah, that looks interesting. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything that I found interesting. Oh yeah, Shin Megami 5, we also finally saw that. That's been announced since the Switch has been announced. Like, Shin Megami 5 has been in the works for all 5 years that the Switch has been out. So it might be good. I mean, it looks interesting. We've got a brand new character, of course. For those of you who don't know what Shin Megami is Persona is actually a spin-off of the Shin Megami series. So essentially, the Persona one actually became more popular, but Shin Megami has been growing in popularity over the years, and has been actually really growing in popularity on Nintendo consoles because Persona is primarily on the Sony consoles. I think that is everything I've got so far. We didn't see a Switch Pro, but Nintendo has been telling us that there is no Switch Pro for a while. So maybe we should actually believe them and not keep pestering them for this console that doesn't exist. We really didn't see anything too big hardware wise, probably because the Xbox you can't buy the Xbox X or the Series X and the PlayStation 5 right now anyway. So it's not like they're going to be making any hardware announcements anytime soon. And I think really that probably would be exactly why Nintendo isn't making any at the moment. Like, you have to remember the Switch is powered off of a Tegra processor, which is NVIDIA, and NVIDIA can't even provide enough GPUs for us. So like it'd be difficult to essentially fund like the research and development of more Tegra processors for for Nintendo to use in a new Switch Pro, especially when they can't get enough RTX 30 series cards into people's hands, and they're probably selling a ton of those right now. All right, so I think that's pretty much it from us today, guys. Do you have any stories that you guys want to talk about in the chat over here? Nope. Okay. Well, I mean, I think Sony's conference is still yet to come. So if it's super interesting, I'll make some sort of content around it. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this in post, I still appreciate you very much. Andrew, thank you for commenting in the chat. And I will see you guys on Thursday with a normal video, with my normal face. And yeah, if you want to see more of the animated face, there's also a gaming channel called Virtual Wolfy that I use this character primarily for the reasons that I actually spoke about earlier. So with that, though, we're going to end it. Thank you guys so much. Wolfy out.